So it's currently Monday, August 26th at 4:41, and while I'm recording the knitting part of this video, I'm currently sitting outside and smoking some chicken in my smoker, and it's currently 75 degrees with a light breeze. So I'm very happy and very content. Hello, my name is Keiko, and I'm here to talk about my projects for the month of August. So, I have been keeping some secrets from you. Surprisingly, the things that I have been vlogging are not the only things that I have been working on. I made the decision to not vlog every single project that I'm working on, so that way I wouldn't get burnt out or not want to knit unless I set the camera up and film. So I've only been vlogging a few projects that I've been working on. So this is my podcast of secret projects that I've been working on for the month of August. And I first want to start off by saying thank you so much for 100 subscribers. I think it's pretty crazy and exciting that I was able to get 100 subscribers in basically 1 month. So yeah, thank you so much if you are one of those subscribers. I wanted to do this podcast a little different than most knitting podcasts that you'll find on YouTube. I wanted to kind of make it like a knit along, and then just do a voiceover and show some B-roll of the projects that I've been working on. But I like to kind of feel like I'm doing something with someone else. I believe it's called body doubling. And so I thought it would be cool if you need a little knit motivation that in this video will kind of give a sense of like body doubling. So to start the podcast off, I will first talk about what I am working on. Currently, I'm working on Vanilla Socks by the Crazy Sock Lady. I decided to knit these two at a time because I think it's kind of fun. The striped fade kind of gives like a good stopping point, and then I can go and do that on the other sock. So I'm knitting these on 9-inch circulars, US 1 2.25 millimeters. I'm doing 64 stitches. For my cuffs, I did a 2x2 ribbing, and that's 20 rounds of the cuff. My leg is roughly 60 stitches. I believe it's a little more, but that's just because I wanted it to end at a nice spot where the first fade finishes, and then I placed an afterthought heel. The yarn for this is Mustache yarn. The main color is called Yellow Submarine, and it's got this nice blue fade with the yellow mini stripes in between. And the contrast color is called Beetlemania. Both are on Fingering Sock, which is 75-25, superwash merino and nylon. The main color is 100 grams, 460 yards. And the contrast color is 50 grams, 230 yards. So, very excited about these. I first went and knit the cuffs, and then I was able to do this leg in like a night, roughly, a few hours. So that's pretty cool. I've never actually timed how long it takes for me to knit a sock. But I think that would be kind of interesting. And also, it's been a long time since I have knit a long leg in vanilla sock. Usually if I'm doing like a vanilla pattern, I'm opting to make them shorties just because that is what I prefer. But obviously, with this gorgeous striping, I wanted to make a longer leg. So, those are the vanilla socks I'm working on. For my walking project, which I've been walking with Nala every morning for about a mile. But I can't knit and walk with Nala. So, and then aside from walking Nala, I haven't been doing much walking on my own, or I haven't been like out and about to do much like sitting and knitting. But anyway, my out and about socks, I'll call them, are the Simple Shorty socks, and they're by MSC Makes. I'm knitting them on 9-inch circulars, US 1 2.25 millimeter. The yarn I'm using is La Bien MA Sweater in her Merino Super Sock. So that's 75/25 superwash merino nylon. 100 grams, 425 yards. And then the contrast colors is by Craftily Dyed Yarn. Their Bright Rainbow Mini Skein Set in Classic Sock, which is also 75/25 superwash merino nylon. The contrast colors are all just leftover projects. So I'm just really trying to use them all up. So some of my socks have added stripes in them. Some of them don't because I didn't have enough yarn, and that's cool too. So they're a little mix and matchy, but yeah, I just wanted to use up all of that yarn, and I love the main color too. So I've just been having fun with that, and those have just been my out and about socks basically since the beginning of the year-ish, and now I'm on my last pair of the skein. So with this pattern I'm able to get 3 socks out of the 100 gram skein, which is really cool. Pretty basic. I love it a lot. Yeah. My last whip that is literally only like cast on and a row and a half is my Color Tip Tee by Emma Curtis. So I'm knitting this on US 3.25 millimeter. The yarn I'm using is, for the main color, is Camellia Fiber Co. Magic Sprinkles on flax fingering, which is 50% alpaca, 25% linen, and 25% silk. And for the contrast color, I'm using Dusty Yarn Co. Bougainvillea on classic fingering, which is 100% superwash merino wool. Instead of the pattern, I believe it has 3 or 4 contrast colors. I'm only using 1 contrast color because for a few reasons. The main one is I have a lot of the Bougainvillea left over. I thought my Thea top would use one or more than one skein of the yarn, and it did not. So I have a lot of this Bougainvillea, and I just think it kind of complements the Magic Sprinkles well. And I also don't have many other, I don't think I have any other yarns that would work with this top, so I will just be doing the 1 contrast color, and I'm really excited for this. The Rainbow Sprinkles and Magic Sprinkles. So, well, first of all, the difference is Magic Sprinkles is UV reactive, which is pretty cool. Not that I'm ever in like a blacklight setting, but I just like how the colors are a little bit more neon versus her Rainbow Sprinkles, which are not as neon. And so I have wanted to buy Rainbow Sprinkles and Magic Sprinkles for the past couple years, but I think like the first year I found out after June, and then the second year I forgot that I could only get it in June, and then this year I was finally able to get some. So I got some Surrey in the regular Rainbow Sprinkles that I want to make a sweater out of. And then once she released the Magic Sprinkles, which was released a few weeks into June, I really wanted that too, and I really wanted to make a tee with it, so that's why I decided to go with the flax fingering. And yeah, I'm just like really motivated and excited to get this going. which is kind of a good segue into finished objects. So the reason that I did not cast on the Color Tip T right when I got this yarn was because I was already in the middle of another tee. And that tee is what I'm currently wearing. It's the Me Serena by Caitlin Hunter. I knit this on US 4 3.5 millimeter needles. My gauge was off, so I opted to modify the pattern to make a larger size. So that way it would come out to the circumference that I wanted it to. I'm not sure how much yarn I used because I started with a partial skein, which I did not weigh. And then I was also helically knitting, and yeah. So I have no idea how much yarn I actually used, but the yarn I did use, the main color is Sorella yarn, and that's on Classic Sock. It's 100% superwash merino wool. 100 grams is 400 yards. And then for the contrast color, it's also Sorella yarn. I think it's her colorway Beach House, but it could potentially be Sven. I'm not positive which one it is, but that's on her Classic Sock too. So I'm really happy with how this came out. I do wish so I swatched my color work and everything, and this is still a little small. It kind of bunches up around my shoulders where the lace is, because I just don't think it blocked out as much as I was expecting it to. But it's not bad enough to where I think I need to frog it or go back and reknit it or anything. And I am glad that I did do the eyelet details, because I almost just opted for doing stockinette, but instead, I did the purl details, not eyelets. So yeah, I'm glad that I did that because I can see it. I'm not sure how apparent it is, but I can see where. So I knit my color work in one skein of Lodge, and then when I went and I added my when I started going helically, like I can really see like such a line, and I was trying to avoid that, which is why I was helically knitting. But I think the yarn just wasn't as tonal as I was expecting it to be too. But because of the purl details, I kind of don't mind, and I think it looks really nice. And overall, I'm really happy with how it came out, and I think I would knit one again for sure. I would definitely want to get better yarn that meets the gauge more, so that way I don't have to worry about adjusting the pattern. Is the only other thing I would say, or I would change if I was to knit it again. But yeah, I'm really happy with this top. I'm glad that it's finished. I started it back in June, and I finished the hard part within like a week. I finished the color work, and I split for sleeves. And then for some reason, I just did not pick it up, and I just did not want to pick it up. So that is why it took me so long to finish it. And then finally this month I was like, no, I need to finish this so that way I can start my Color Tip T before it starts cooling down. But I mean, I live in Southern California, so realistically I could wear wool tees all year round. It doesn't really get that cold. I'm really excited to get the Color Tip T underway. My next finished object in the month of August is the Surprise Sock Along 2024, hosted by Stephen West. So I knit these socks over the course of 4 weeks is when he had Clue releases. I knit them on US 1 2.25. Mostly I knit on DPNs, and then I did a little bit of knitting in Magic Loop. The only mods that I made are, I only use one contrast color for the cuff, heel, and toes. And in the pattern, it was like use one of each contrast color for each part. So that's like pretty much the only mod I made. So the yarn is Walk Collection. The main color is Neon Grit, and then the contrast colors are Dance Party, Wanderlust, and Sour, all on the Tough Sock base, which is 75/25 superwash merino nylon. What a surprise. So, surprise sock along. Amazing. So much fun. There are multiple vlogs for that, again, because it happened every week for a month. So that was a fun project. Next and final finished object for the month of August is an emotional support chicken that I worked on. I was able to complete this in about like 2 days, I think, which is very exciting that it went by so quickly. If you haven't noticed, like all of my projects are on fingering weight yarns, and so to have a project that's not fingering weight, it just feels like it really flew by. Which I forgot to mention. The Emotional Support Chicken is by the Knitting Tree LA. For the main color, I used Murder Yarn. I love that name. And it is by Seattle Sky Dye Works in their Temporum base, which is 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, and 10% nylon. And that's 415 yards for 115 grams. So I held this fingering yarn double, and then I also held that with a strand of Tin Silk Mohair, and I believe the colorway I used was natural, but I'm not positive on that because I don't know where I put the tag. But Tin Silk Mohair is 57% mohair, 28% silk, and 15% wool. It's 25 grams and 231 yards. And then for my contrast color, I used Madeline Tosh DK in the colorway Coffee Grounds. Tosh DK is 100% superwash merino wool, and that is 225 yards for 100 grams. For the beak, I used Impeccable by Loops and Threads, which is yarn I got at Michael's. I used the colorway Gold, and this is a 100% acrylic yarn, 285 yards for 127 grams. And then for the wattle and comb, I used Lion Brand Heartland in the colorway Redwood. And this is a 100% acrylic yarn also. 142 grams for and 251 yards. So lots of yarns used in this chicken. And the safety eyes I just got off of Amazon. So obsessed. I want to make myself an emotional support chicken because it was just so sweet to hug. And yeah, great project. I would recommend for sure. So I have 3 main goals for September. And those 3 goals are to finish my color tip tee, finish my submarine socks, and then, most importantly, which is why I am procrastinating it, I'm going to be making a Sweet Stripes blanket by TL Yarn Crafts for my cousin who is going to have a baby in October. So I really need to get on that and stop procrastinating it. I am planning to vlog it, so that will be my next big vlog project. The yarn that I have chosen for this project is Comfy by Knit Picks or We Crochet. This is a worsted weight yarn. 50 grams gets you 109 yards. The composition is 75% Pima cotton, 25% acrylic, and the colors that I have chosen for her blanket are white, ivory, silver sage, honeydew, and whisker. She said she's been really into sage green lately, so I'm really excited about this color palette. I'm really excited to start this project because I haven't had a crochet project in a few months, and usually I have like on the go sock, on the go basic sock, a kind of fun complex sock that requires a little bit more attention, a garment, all knitwear by the way, and then I usually have my fourth and final project is usually a crochet project, but that has not been the case for a few months. So it's like I'm excited to pick up the crochet hook, but it's just been a while. So I really need to get that going. Those are my 3 main projects for the month of September. So if somehow I finish those 3 projects, then the next 3 kind of things that I'm really motivated to start working on are 1, finishing a second sock of an affinity sock by Carrie Cogan Brown. I'm making one for a friend. I've already finished the first one. She's already tried it on. It fits. I know all of the counts, so I just need to finish the second sock. And then I could check that off of my knit list. Great. So simple. I don't know why I'm procrastinating so much. The next one is a Turtle Dove Shawl by Sari Nordlund. I have some yarn that I was gifted that I don't really see using in like garment or anything, so I think it would make a really nice turtle dove shawl, so I'm kind of motivated to start that. Or the last thing I would consider starting would be thick tan line joggers by the Little Wolf Knits. She's doing a make along leading up to Rhinebeck for, I think it's called Rhinebeck Rumps, and just basically anything that goes on your bottom. And I've been thinking about making this pattern for a long time, and a fun thing about this yarn is I'm planning to do my first finished object frog, because what I knit just doesn't work, and I want to repurpose this yarn, and for some reason I've wanted to make her joggers for like with this yarn, so for a while now. So I'm kind of like at the point where I'm pretty motivated to like actually consider picking that up and starting it. So that's my August wrap up and my September plans. So I hope you enjoyed this podcast. I hope you were able to get some rows in during it. I know this format is a little different than most knitting podcasts on YouTube, but this is just what I'm feeling right now. So I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave a comment letting me know what you've been working on lately. And also, if you enjoyed, I would love a like and subscribe so you can follow along for more knitting vlog and the occasional wrap-up podcast episodes. I'm not sure, since this is my first episode, obviously. I'm not sure how often I will be doing these knit podcasts because I'm just kind of figuring out, I guess, as I go. I think at least one a month would be a good goal for myself, because I have been enjoying doing the knit vlogs a lot, and so those take up quite a bit of time. So yeah, maybe just like a monthly wrap up and then planning ahead for the next month, I think might be a good format for this podcast, but who knows? we'll see. We'll just kind of play it by ear and figure it out. So, thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next vlog or podcast.